Go for main engine start.
We have a go for main engine start. Mission and liftoff of the Scoutster, celebrating its 25th birthday by racking up science and supplies to the space station.
The solid rocket boosters blew away.
Columbia, Houston, UHF comm check. Roger, roll.
For a period of time following the 2003 grounding of the Space Shuttle fleet, the future of the International Space Station became uncertain. Construction had halted, and work aboard had been restricted to a crew of 2. NASA's spaceplane was grounded, and the Russian Space Agency only had so much money to work with. In March of 2006, a meeting was held between the heads of all space agencies involved at the station. A new construction plan was drawn out, planning for the station to be finished by 2010. STS-114 was something of a stuttering restart to the program. Due to the problems that had resurfaced during its launch, the next flight was another one focused on testing safety measures. The station was given enhanced environmental support, a second Soyuz was permanently docked to the station as an emergency vehicle, more Progress flights were scheduled to bring consumables to the station, and more fuel for maneuvers to raise orbit. STS-115 would be the first flight to continue the assembly of the space station. It was a problematic launch. It was delayed initially due to the Columbia disaster, and then by the threat of Tropical Storm Ernesto, which delivered a powerful lightning strike to the rod atop the launch tower. As the shuttle was connected and ready to go, it was then removed and brought back to the vehicle assembly building to assess potential damage. Atlantis finally launched on September 9, 2006, performed an on-orbit inspection of the spacecraft, and then proceeded to dock to the space station.
They're coming up. I see them all coming up. Green 100. 102, auto. Go by the tower. Should be throttling up. Waiting for the roll. 104. 8 seconds. There's the roll. Input is now. May we come back to the normal command? Roll program, Houston. Roger. No feelings. Roger, roll.
On Flight Day 3, the 1.75-ton P3/P4 truss section was lifted from the shuttle's payload bay using the Canadarm, and the station's Canadarm2 then took control of the section to position it for installation. A full day of spacewalks were needed to install the truss, and a second day installed and prepared the Solar Alpha rotary joint, which allows the panel to turn towards the sun at all times. The next day, the panel was properly unfurled, slowly throughout the day to prevent pieces of it from sticking together as they had on previous missions. Despite being fully extended, this panel wouldn't provide any power at all until the next mission. STS-116 launched 2 months later, delivered another segment of the integrated truss structure, and performed a complete rewiring of the station's electrical system.
Rendezvous on Flight Day 3. Here we are viewed from the station, and then 600 feet below the station we did this somersault called the Rendezvous Pitch Maneuver, so that the station crew could photograph the bottom of the shuttle that we couldn't have seen with the space shuttle's robot arm. This maneuver is sped up, as you can imagine, but it's still very impressive while you're doing it. And this is a beautiful view of the shuttle. There are the 3 main engines that took us most of the way to orbit.
We didn't have any time for luxury after taking a quick tour. Nick and Roman actually grappled the P5 truss, better known as Puny. They took it out of the bay and they positioned it on the forward left side of the shuttle. And as you see their arm in motion, above it you'll see the space station arm coming in. Sonny is now going in to grapple the P5. At one point, both arms were grappled. Once we had firm hold of it, we let go, and we had it.
Like I said before, our main objective here was to actually take the space station off its temporary power system and move it to its permanent system. And basically, in layman's terms, what we were doing, we were we turned off half of the station. We unplugged it from P6, or the power truss that was vertical, and then plugged it into the main truss. Then we powered that side up, powered the other side down, and then we unplugged those two channels from P6, and then we plugged it into the main truss. And this was all orchestrated by Billy O. He was our intervehicular crew member.
In addition, the solar panels were reconfigured, and an entire day was spent attempting to unkink the newest array, a process that took the entire mission and several days of spacewalks to do. STS-117 installed yet another truss segment and another solar array. Once it was finished, the station would finally begin to take a shape familiar to those of us who know its current layout.
Pat wanted to get a picture for the montages that we give all the folks that looks just like this, which is just like our patch. So Brew had to delay just a minute on the V-bar till the sun got just right so Pat could shoot the perfect picture. And it turned out well. It was worth the effort. So a few item entries we have to type into the shuttle computers with the jets. And here's the station looking nice and symmetrical, as I mentioned earlier. We even had it flying behind us for a while. I could see it back there clearly, so we did a little yaw manual maneuver of the shuttle to kick it across the tail so everybody could see it. Then before we knew it, it was time to come home, close the payload bay doors, and we had cold soaked the orbiter the night before, so the crew was very happy, but very cold, so that was good.
STS-118 added to the truss structure further and installed another external stowage platform. STS-120 brought the Harmony module, a connection node that would host laboratories for ESA, NASA, and JAXA, as well as containing sleeping quarters for the astronauts. After this, one of the large solar arrays was relocated to its permanent location at the far end of the truss structure. One last amusing, non-scientific aspect of this flight involved was, wait for it, a lightsaber. In honor of the 30th anniversary of the Star Wars franchise, Mark Hamill's prop lightsaber used in Return of the Jedi was flown to the station and then returned to Earth. A ceremony was held where the prop was presented to NASA by Chewbacca, or rather, I assume, Peter Mayhew in his signature Chewbacca costume. Several more flights were focused on delivering various scientific modules, such as the ESA Columbus module and the Japanese Kibo module, which had an external component that would allow experiments to be exposed to space and observed from inside. STS-130 delivered one of the most iconic modules to the station, called the Cupola. The Cupola is an observation module, containing 7 windows in a dome shape inspired by the cockpits of old bomber planes like the B-29. Since its installation, it has been used to monitor docking procedures, as well as operations with the station's robotic arm. Prior to this, the only views outside could be achieved with various small porthole windows, such as the one located on the Destiny module.
Here we are looking at some of the additional windows. There's 7 windows, 1 right in the center and then 6 around the edges of the cupola to provide us a 360-degree panoramic view that is just stunning. The cupola will be used as a robotic workstation for the robotic operators, and especially as we move into the future with new vehicles that will be visiting the International Space Station, it'll be important to be able to look out the window to see that view versus just relying on the camera views that we have. And of course, we just get to look at our beautiful Earth out this window as well.
The installation of the cupola module marked the end of main components to be added to the space station. The ISS was, essentially, complete. There were a few more smaller pieces to be added, but the Space Shuttle program had at this point practically fulfilled its purpose. All that remained now was the final flights of each of the 3 remaining orbiters. If you like this video, please give it a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe to my channel, which is Dead Kennedy in Space. If you want to support me further, consider donating on Patreon or purchasing some of my work through Amazon or Teespring. Thank you, and I'll see you over the curve, Space Cowboys.
Live there, on the mote of dust, suspended in a sunbeam, in a vast cosmic arena.